The phone vibrated against the oak desk my father left me. 3 words on the screen. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." My daughter-in-law's voice cracked through the voicemail speaker, sharp and amused, laughter in the background. My wife's laughter. I stared at the waveform, played it again. "Wash the dishes." The house was quiet. Too quiet for a married man. Too quiet for someone who supposedly owned half his late father's estate. I leaned back in my chair and watched dust float in the afternoon light. My father's land, 40 acres of timber, and riverfront, was supposed to be untouchable, signed into a trust, locked down. Yet the bank had sent a "congratulations on your recent transaction" notice. $47,000. Transferred. My signature. Perfectly forged. I didn't yell. Didn't call. Didn't slam the desk. I just opened the safe and removed the old file folder marked Deed, Riverside Parcel. The signature on the sale agreement looked like mine. But I don't sell blood, and that land was blood. I pressed play on another audio file I wasn't supposed to have. Her voice, low, intimate. "We'll flip it fast. He'll never know. He barely checks statements." A man chuckled. A banker's voice. Calm, confident, predatory. I closed my eyes. They thought I was old, tired, finished. They forgot who taught me how to survive. My father didn't raise a man who washed dishes on command. He raised a man who waits. I didn't confront her that night. She came home with wine and a story about errands. Kissed my cheek like I was a guest in my own house. I studied her the way you study a storm on the horizon. You don't scream at it. You measure the wind. She'd been distant for months. Longer, maybe. New clothes, gym memberships, banking consultations. She said she was helping a friend restructure debt. The friend was named Daniel, vice president at a regional bank. I found his name in her deleted messages. She forgot that cloud backups exist. "My husband signs anything," she'd written. A joke, followed by a wink emoji. The joke cost me $47,000 and my father's legacy. Infidelity would have hurt. But this was strategy. This was partnership. Forgery requires practice, access, confidence, which meant she had both. I watched her that week. She hummed while cooking, asked if I'd invited my son for Thanksgiving, told me I needed to loosen up. Every word was a performance. Every touch felt rehearsed. At night, when she thought I was asleep, her phone glowed beneath the blanket. Soft typing, soft laughter. One message I'll never forget. "He suspects nothing. After the land clears, we'll go to Zurich, Switzerland." They already had plans for my inheritance. I felt something strange then. Not rage, clarity. They believed I was predictable. They believed I was harmless. That was their first mistake. I hired a forensic document examiner, quietly. Paid in cash. The report confirmed what I already knew. The signature was traced. Pressure inconsistencies, micro-hesitations, amateur arrogance. Then I called an old contact from years ago. An investigator who now worked with federal financial crimes. Forgery tied to a banking officer. Interstate wire transfers. It wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud. The kind that attracts 3-letter agencies. I never accused her. Instead, I cooked dinner, asked about her day, listened carefully when she mentioned the VFW. Hall fundraiser, annual community dinner, packed every year. Veterans, local officials, bank sponsors. Daniel's bank was sponsoring this year. Of course it was. I transferred the audio files to a secure drive. Installed a small recording device in her car weeks earlier when suspicion first flickered. I hadn't known why then. Now I did. One recording stood out. Daniel. "Once the land flips, we're clear. Your husband's too proud to admit he was fooled." Her voice soft and excited. "He'll never fight back. If he wants Thanksgiving, he can wash the dishes." They both laughed. I replayed that part often, not because it hurt, but because it told me exactly who she believed I was. The FBI agent didn't say much when I handed over the evidence. He didn't need to. Financial crimes are patient hunters. Just like me, we agreed on timing. Public. Documented. Undeniable. The VFW hall was already wired for sound that night. They just didn't know it. The hall was packed. Flags on the walls. Folding chairs. Roast turkey scent in the air. She wore red. Daniel wore confidence. When they announced the bank's community partnership speech, I stood. Walked to the podium before Daniel could. Polite smile. Steady hands. I'd like to share something, I said. No tremor in my voice, just a click. The speakers crackled. Her voice filled the hall. Crystal clear. We'll flip it fast. He'll never know. Murmurs. Then Daniel's laugh. Then the line. If he wants Thanksgiving, he can wash the dishes. Silence fell like a guillotine. I watched her face drain of color. Watched Daniel calculate exits. 2 men near the back stood up quietly. Badges flashed. Not dramatic, just inevitable. I stepped away from the microphone. No shouting. No theatrics. She whispered my name like it was a lifeline. I didn't answer. The FBI agent placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. Another officer approached her. Forgery, wire fraud, conspiracy, such cold words. Perfect words. She tried to speak to me outside the hall. Tears now, voice shaking. It wasn't supposed to... I held up a folder. Swiss property documents, a villa overlooking Lake Geneva, purchased weeks ago, in my name alone. Funded by a separate account she never knew existed. Inheritance insurance my father quietly arranged years before his death. She stared at the photos. Infinity pool. Glass walls. Snow-capped peaks. You said Zurich, I reminded her softly. I figured I'd go first. Her phone began ringing. My son, her friends. 71 missed calls by midnight. Community disgrace travels fast. I loved you, she whispered. I looked at her the way you look at a stranger who once wore a familiar face. You loved the version of me you thought was weak. I stepped into the car, left her standing beneath the VFW sign, alone. Switzerland is quiet in winter. Snow absorbs sound. Mist hangs over the lake like unfinished thoughts. From the villa balcony, I can see the mountains and nothing else. No forged signatures. No banker. No laughter under blankets. The land is gone, but so is she. The FBI handled the rest. Fraud leaves paper trails. Paper trails become cages. Sometimes I replay her voicemail. Come wash the dishes? I smile. I don't hate her. Hate requires attachment, and attachment is a liability. My father once told me something while standing on that riverbank. Never fight loud. Win quiet. I sip my coffee. Watch the snowfall. And I realized something simple. She tried to sell my inheritance. Instead, she financed my freedom. Enjoy.